This is 6 Minutes, the seriously international daily newscast. It's Wednesday, February the 5th, and I'm Bertrand.
And I'm Albright. It's dinner time in Kathmandu while people in Kansas City are just having breakfast. Here in the Worldcrunch newsroom in Paris, it's just after midday. These are the latest headlines. Donald Trump says he wants to, quote, take over Gaza. Billionaire and Islamic spiritual leader Aga Khan dies at age 88. And our daily quiz question comes from an airport in South Korea. President Donald Trump declared yesterday the U.S. will own Gaza after kicking Palestinians out of the enclave under an extraordinary plan that he claimed could turn it into what he called the Riviera of the Middle East. Key regional player Saudi Arabia declared its absolute rejection of the proposal. Other world leaders, including those in Australia and China, voiced their opposition to such a plan.
The US military is flying migrants to Guantanamo Bay for the first time ever. This comes as the US prepares to house tens of thousands of migrants at the naval base in Cuba. Donald Trump said he wants the Pentagon and Department of Homeland Security to expand a migrant detention facility at the base to hold more than 30,000 migrants. The Taliban suspended operation of Afghanistan's only women's radio station after they raided its premises on Tuesday. The raid cited unauthorized provision of content and programming to an overseas TV channel, further excluding women from public life and society since the group took power 4 years ago.
The Aga Khan, the spiritual leader of Ismaili Muslims and billionaire philanthropist, died in Lisbon at the age of 88. According to the Aga Khan Development Network, an announcement to designate his successor will soon take place. Now let's take a closer look at what the international press is covering.
Swedish daily Svenska Dagbladet led today with photos of first responders at the adult school west of Stockholm, where 11 people were killed in the worst mass shooting in Swedish history. Police say the gunman, who was shot dead, acted alone. A motive has not yet been determined. Philippines Vice President Sara Duterte was impeached by the country's House of Representatives. The move comes after more than the required number of legislators, many of them allies of her political rival, signed a petition to remove her from office. Duterte, daughter of former President Rodrigo Duterte, is accused of misusing millions of dollars in public funds and threatening to have President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. assassinated.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told British journalist Piers Morgan in an interview posted Tuesday that he is ready for talks with Putin to end Russia's war in Ukraine. The return of U.S. President Donald Trump has raised anticipation of negotiations as the third anniversary of Moscow's invasion approaches. We have a piece from German magazine Die Zeit on how we talk about the blitz of declarations and actions coming from the White House and others. Bertrand, tell us more.
Die Zeit's financial correspondent Mark Schieritz writes that the use of the word disruption to talk about certain political choices is actually coded language for something very different. He writes, when former British Prime Minister Tony Blair tells Die Zeit that the system isn't working and calls for disruption, we have to ask, what exactly does he mean? For a vast portion of humanity, the system works quite well. That's not to say change isn't needed. Inequality is growing, especially in Anglo-Saxon countries, and bureaucracy stifles private initiative in many places. But solving these problems does not require disruption. It requires better tax policies and cutting unnecessary regulations. The term disruption is being used with an alarming level of naivety. In economics, it refers to the routine replacement of old business models and technologies by innovation. The car replaced the horse-drawn carriage. Streaming services replaced VHS tapes. But the essence of a functioning political order is its stability, not disruption. If radical change is the goal, we should at least call it what it is: revolution, or better, a coup. And we have a piece from Turkish weekly magazine Oxygen on the sustainability of fishing in Turkey. Currently, the majority of Turkey's fish comes from cultivation, also known as fish farming, compared to just 10% 2 decades ago. The author writes that the short-sightedness of this shift risks eliminating fishing output from both the farms and the open seas along Turkey's 5,200 miles of coastline.
We're closing things out today with a news quiz question coming to us from Seoul, South Korea. South Korean airport officials say they confiscated nearly 11 tons of what product last year? Was it A, spicy ramen noodles, B, snail mucin skincare, C, kimchi fermented vegetables, or D, BTS-themed underwear? The correct answer is C. Security officials enforcing the no liquids rule at Seoul's International Airport have been busy seizing kimchi, a concoction of salted and fermented vegetables that is a staple of every Korean dinner table. Last year, airport officials confiscated a total of 10.7 tons of the country's must-have side dish from passengers violating the ban on liquid and carry-on luggage.
That's a whole lot of pickled cabbage there. That's the latest from around the world. If you like this podcast, we'd really appreciate it if you could help us out with a follow, a share, and a 5-star rating on your preferred podcasting platform. For more of the best of the international press, delivered exclusively in English every day, visit us at worldcrunch.com. We'll see you here tomorrow. À demain!